Unmuted, this podcast exists because silence never told the full story. Me being on air for so many years, okay, over 2 decades, I wasn't able to freely express myself and say the things that I wanted to say on the air. So today's story is about something we don't always like to admit we need: patience. I admit it. Patience with life, with people, with ourselves. But it's also about boundaries and about paying attention, about knowing when to speak and when to keep certain things to yourself, when to pick and choose your battles, learn when to shut the hell up. If I must be blunt with you, I had to learn these things, life lessons, because sometimes your peace and your safety are actually worth more than proving a point. Hey, I'm Nina Chantele, and this is Unmuted. It took me life lessons to get to this point, let me tell you. Like when I first started in radio, I was young, and I mean young. I had energy, the confidence, and of course, I'm spicy, so I had a quick tongue. If I didn't like something, you were going to hear about it. And I'm going to be direct, loud, honest. I didn't have much of a filter. I mean, the Nina you have now, let's just say she's a little bit watered down, okay? I wasn't reckless for the sake of being reckless, so I don't want you to think that. But I was quick to respond. I'm still basically like that. I'm always going to be direct and honest, but I'm going to, in today's time, be a little bit more mindful and think before I speak, okay? So let's just remember, I'm telling you, I was young. I was quick to respond. And in this business, when you're climbing the ladder, that can backfire. Let me just tell you the story. And I don't know if I've told many people about this, but hey, we're being unmuted and time has passed. Lots of time has passed. I was doing afternoon drive in Miami. I was at the top of my market. Literally, I was number one in my first book. That means the ratings, you're number one in your first book. It was a big deal. I was the only female on that station at the time. The first lady, Nina Chantele, that's what they called me. So I was doing what I loved, right? And I'm at the top of my game. I'm hosting all these parties in Miami on the beach, at least like 5 nights a week. I've got a great group of friends. I'm living my best life. I'm super young. I've got like the condo of my dreams with marble floors. I was living it up. And you couldn't tell me nothing because some of these celebrities became my actual friends. They would bring me food from their home on Thanksgiving because my family was in Chicago and I was so young by myself in Miami. They would come to the studio. They would bring me a Thanksgiving meal, things like that. These people became my friends. I thought I was untouchable. I could have any guest that I wanted on my show. The ratings proved it. The parties, the turnout for the parties that I'm hosting, all of it proved something, right? But when my boss would try to tell me certain things, I would snack back. I didn't like the way he talked to me. So I would let him know that I didn't like the way he talked to me. But you have to remember, everybody is replaceable, okay? Especially in this business. They don't care that you're number one in the ratings. I still got fired. Not because I wasn't good, but because I didn't know how to hold back. That was a day I learned the hard way that sometimes being right doesn't matter if you say it at the wrong time. That's why I told you about certain life lessons. I'm telling you that this life lesson was, for me, learn when to shut the hell up, learn when to pick and choose your battles, learn how to watch your words and how you speak to certain people, and definitely don't burn bridges in life, but especially in this business. So what happened at that time is I ended up leaving Miami, not by choice. And honestly, right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about this. I'm born and raised on the south side of Chicago. So I'm used to like big city, quick pace, keeping it moving, sexy spots to go out to. And then I moved to Miami. It's, sandy beaches and beautiful palm trees and beautiful people and amazing, fun lifestyle. And then because I had just started radio and it was on a dare that I did, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just keeping it moving. I really didn't save a lot of money. So I ended up getting an opportunity to go to Austin, Texas. So I moved to Austin after that. And this is like hill country, okay? People are going out in flip-flops. Meanwhile, I'm going out in my high heels, my pumps at the time, because, I was coming from Miami, to the club. So people were kind of looking at me like, who's this chick, And it's a college town. And I was carrying a lot of anger, such anger with me from the fact that I was forced out of where I was happy living my life in Miami. I felt betrayed by something that I had worked so hard for and I was so good at. And I was number one. I decided nobody else was going to get that close to me again. So I built a wall. I mean, I was so angry at the situation that I'm living in this place that I didn't choose to go to. I'm here because I feel like it's a survival mode. So it wasn't about being strong. It was about survival, or so I thought. And I just wasn't going out certain places and certain friends. Actually, I really didn't want to make friends. I really wasn't putting myself out there. And if you know me, like anybody who knows me, I'm outgoing. I love people. I love interesting conversations, making friends. And this time in my life, I was so angry with the world that I did speak to one of the closest people in my life, and they weren't able to get in touch with me for quite some time. And that was just unlike me with them. And they told me, what's going on with you? Like, you're not the same. Like, I could tell something's up. And so I expressed myself kind of like what I was just telling you, but a little more detailed. And they told me I need to get a book called The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. I'll never forget. And this book, it's 40 chapters, and you have to read one chapter a day. And I was so frustrated with everything in life that I wasn't interested in a book about purpose at that time. But I opened it anyway. I went to Barnes & Noble, I picked it up, and slowly, day after day, when I was reading one chapter a day, my perspective started to shift. And one chapter in particular stuck with me. It said that patience isn't just waiting, it's how you act while you wait. Let me repeat that. It's how you act while you wait. And that hit me because my version of patience was pacing the floor, running every scenario through my head, overthinking, getting mad when things didn't move fast enough, still being angry with the world. Because why am I here? Why am I in Austin, Texas? Why did I start in my hometown of Chicago, market number 3 in this business? Why did I love my life in Miami? And I was run out by somebody that I just couldn't stand at the time because they fired me. In hindsight now, I can understand if I was in that position, I was a little firecracker. I mean, there was a reason that they, let me go. Now I see it. That book made me realize patience could be quiet strength. It could be controlling your words, your tone, your energy, even when everything in you wants to react. For me to say that to you, I don't even know how I got here. I really don't, because I'm quick to tell you how I feel. That lesson changed how I carried myself. And you know what? Another thing is it helped me, I should say, let go of all of that anger. Slowly, of course, but it happened. And that person that I told you that told me to get that book that's close to me also told me, like, really, that person that you're so angry with, that's making you angry at the world, they're not thinking about you. And it's true. Think about right now. Are you angry with somebody? A certain person may have fired you, or a person in your life completely pissed you off. And, you're so mad. You're so angry with this ex who did something to you, or a friend who betrayed you, or a family member. How dare they? You're so angry, but do you think that person's actually thinking about you right now? You're not letting go, and you're angry at the world maybe because you're allowing that to drain your energy, to pull you in. But it's true. Think about it. You think that person is thinking about you right now? Because when they told me that, I kind of thought about it daily. Like, you know what? That dude probably has no idea that I'm thinking about him, and I'm so angry, and I'm giving him all of this power. And I started to shift my energy, because why am I giving this person that has pissed me off, that has what I felt ruined my life? Why am I giving him that energy? I started to think about the way my words landed. I started paying more attention to who I was talking to and what they might hear, not just what I was saying. And so maybe that shift in thinking came from where I grew up. You start to think all these things. I'm telling you, I had a shift in time during that time. See, I'm a Latina from the south side of Chicago, right? So growing up, you have to have street smarts. And not because you wanted to, but because it was a difference between walking home safely or not making it home at all after you go out. All of the hot spots were sometimes in dangerous neighborhoods or just busy. I mean, it's a big city, right? I remember one night, my sister and I were out with two of her friends from high school. And we were in a neighborhood thick in the city, in kind of a bad neighborhood that we had no business being in. But my sister had this new car. And when I say new, it was completely used. It wasn't, it would even drip from water from the moonroof that she had, And I remember her license plate, we used to call it the Wuckmobile, this car, okay? So it was old, but I'm saying new because we had a car. And apparently that car's doors didn't lock, even if they said they were locked. Because what happened was the two girls that were my sister's friends that came out with us, they needed to use the restroom. And so we're like, gosh, can you hold it? Like, this isn't a good place to stop. It's nighttime, And they just couldn't hold it. So we stop at this fast food restaurant, let them out so they can go to the bathroom. My sister and I are just sitting there kind of waiting, parked on this busy street. So we're talking, minding our own business. And I'm wearing this purple coat. You couldn't tell me anything. I was styling, okay? I was like in high school, and this purple coat had like gold drawstring on the waist and the gold strings from the hood that it had and gold buttons, and the zipper was gold. Out of nowhere, my sister and I are just sitting there, and my door on my passenger side busts open, and like four girls are trying to pull me out. And they're pulling me out of nowhere. And my sister and I are like, what the hell is happening? So my sister starts pulling me from her side on the driver's side. And she just starts reacting, like trying to pull out of the parking spot that we're in while she's pulling my arm. And I'm fighting for my life. I'm punching, I'm scratching, I'm pulling hair, I'm kicking. And turns out it looked like gang colors to somebody else. The girl's like, you think you could wear our colors kind of thing? My sister made it out, okay, out of that parking spot, pulling me back in with all of her might. My jacket being pulled from those girls and my sister from opposite ends was ruined. It looked like when a dog chews on a stuffed animal and all of the cotton comes out. Yeah, that's what ended up happening. I mean, the door was still swinging as we sped away. My heart was in my throat. And all of that over a jacket that I thought was cute. All because I was in the wrong neighborhood, okay? That day was the day I learned what it meant to really watch your six. Have you heard that expression? Watch your six, to pay attention to your surroundings, even when you think nothing's wrong. That means also watch your back. That lesson has followed me everywhere, even into my career. I learned to keep my home life private, to keep my inner circle small. And if I can't call you at 2 a.m., if there's an emergency, you can't get that close to me because I'm the kind of person that loves hard and I will have your back till the day I die. If we're friends, we're going to be friends. If we're going to fight, we're going to communicate and we're going to make up. So friends that just you're so close with and they can't communicate with you and you don't even know why you don't talk anymore because they don't know how to express themselves or have a conversation and you didn't mean that much to them that they let that friendship go. Let them go. They're not your real friends. Because here's the thing, not everybody is smiling at you because they have good intentions. Sometimes they're waiting for your failure. I've been in situations where the wrong person tried to get close, and I'm so glad I had the instincts to keep them out. So think about your circle. Think about those people. Do they answer your phone call? Can you depend on them? Can they be your emergency contact? Like the night a few years ago when I realized I was being followed. I was driving home late. I noticed there was this car behind me. And at first, I brushed it off. But then I noticed they were flashing their lights. They were screaming out the window. Every turn I made, they made. Every lane I switched to, they followed. And I started getting worried, obviously, because again, you got to watch your six. You got to watch your back. So my chest got tight. This person kept speeding up, trying to get closer to my car. And I knew better than to pull, straight into my area of where I live or even to my garage, my driveway. So instead I took a different route and I headed to a police station. I called somebody, put them on speaker, explaining what was going on. I wanted somebody to hear in case something went down. Always do that, by the way. I watch a lot of Dateline and true crime. You got to learn these things. If somebody is following you or you feel unsafe when you're walking, call somebody, leave the phone on speaker. They can hear everything that's happening around you if, God forbid, they need details. Eventually, I lost this person that was following me, but it shook me because you don't expect things until they happen. Danger doesn't just live on the streets. Now it lives online too. People share everything, where they are, who they're with, what they're wearing. Think about how many times you've posted something in the location that you're sitting at. Not a good idea. You might want to wait to do that because you got to think about who might be watching, who's going to pop up. Even apps that say that they're there to protect women can be risky if the wrong person gets access. Just like there are spaces for women to share and connect, there are men out there creating their own apps. There's another one that's like number 2 behind ChatGPT now. They're creating their own apps to expose and target women right back. In a bad way, that's just a revenge game back and forth. That's unsafe. It makes you think, how much is too much to share? That's where the patience lesson comes back. Sometimes it's not about reacting immediately or posting everything in the moment. Sometimes it's about waiting, protecting your space, protecting your safety, and understanding that your voice is still powerful, even if you don't use it right away. Take a moment when you're feeling all the emotions and you're so angry and you want to send that text or you want to speak something to somebody. Remember, those words are going to stick to the other party and you can't take them back. Everything that I've been through, from getting fired several times in my business and getting rehired, to street confrontations being younger, to being followed in my adult age, to seeing how reckless online spaces can get and are becoming, has taught me one thing. You can be unmuted without being exposed. You can speak your truth and still keep parts of your life sacred. And you can hold your ground without letting the wrong people get close enough to knock you down. So watch your 6. Watch your back. Pay attention to what's around you, both in person and online. And remember, patience isn't sitting around doing nothing. It's moving with intention. It's knowing when to show up and when to hold back. Most importantly, it's protecting yourself in a world that sometimes doesn't want to see you win. Once again, I had to share because silence never told the full story. This is Unmuted with Nina Chantele.